Hi everyone, it's Chris, K2CJB with K2CJB Radio, and here it is, Field Day 2020. So join me as we experience Field Day together. Here's all the gear that we're going to move out to the location, which of course is just in the backyard. There we go, that's all the gear that's going out there. Plus the cooler, which I have to fill yet. During yesterday's setup time on Friday, I ran a long wire. It's a relatively random long wire, and I'll talk about that later. There's one end of it, and you probably can't see the wire, but at the other end you'll see some orange paracord coming out of a tree. There's the wire. I spent some time trying to tune this yesterday and make it work with my tuner. It will work on 40, but it will not tune up on 80. I made sure to upgrade the tent pegs. Well, the tent is up, and you'll notice that I moved it from its original location because I wanted to get that line right there a little further open so I could get some venting. Now, let's take a walk around. This is a nice tent, I like this. I have set this up before, give myself a trial run. There's the other vent on the back. And there's the side. That table there is going to go inside the tent, and you'll see a little stake here. That's holding the end of the long wire, and part of that will go inside the tent and connect to the tuner. I took something out of Tracy's handbook, VE3 TWM of Outdoors on the Air, and I made a little PVC holder for my fiberglass pole, little hose clamp on the end, and I got some stakes. I'll just stake it down to guy it. I tested this before. I think it's going to be okay. I guess we'll find out. Okay, it's about 1:15, 1:20, and we're set up, we're ready to go. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of everything we have set up for my 1E, 1 Echo Field Day operation in the backyard for Field Day 2020. First, we'll take a look at the antennas. Right here, you'll all recognize this. This is the Wolf River Coil Silver Bullet 1000. I've got two 33-foot radials, counterpoises hanging on it, and a sandbag holding it. And of course, we've got the MFJ 1979 vertical whip on top, and that's extended all the way up. It is far enough away from those power cables, so don't worry. Next to it, this is a homebrew antenna stand, a guide stand. This is a PVC tube that the fiberglass pole, that's the Shakespeare fiberglass pole, fishing pole that extends up 20 feet. Now at the top of that, you'll see two antennas. I've got the dipole, the link dipoles at the center of it, and you'll also see the N9TAX VHF UHF Slim Jim at the top of that as well. I've got some tape holding the cable and everything in place. You can tell we're getting a little breezy because we are expecting some weather. Okay, well, the cables are running along this way. So some branches are already fallen. This tent has this convenient little zipper hole here. The cables are passing through, all antenna cables. The gray wire is the counterpoise for the long wire. It's attached to this stake, and you've seen this already. It goes up into the tree and then goes out toward the front. And it's somewhere in here. Yeah, you can see the orange paracord. All right, let's take a look inside the tent. Here's the radio set up with the first battery that we're going to use for the operation. There's the SST tuner for the long wire. The antenna's cables are marked. I've got the power meter on the battery. There's the iPad set up to do logging. In the pocket, that's the Heil headset with all the adapters connected to it, ready to go for later. And then that little box, that little pouch, is the MFJ paddle, CW paddle. Down on the floor at my feet, a couple of HTs. You hear the weather on the Baofeng right now. I've got the FT70DR listening to a local digital machine on the whip. And the TYT tucked in on the other side there is listening to my club repeater, which I can bring up using the N9 TAX, and that's what it's connected to. Some storage in the back. Then we got all the food stuff here, drinks, snacks, a little meal for later. And here's the air mattress that all you campers recommended, with some camping pillows. 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP.
The one station again.
We're underway.
The November 1.
Starting on 20 meters with the link dipole. Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP. Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP. Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP.
Victor Echo 2 Alpha Whiskey, I believe. Please copy 1 Delta Minnesota.
Charlie Juliet Bravo.
Okay, with the Kilo 3 was at Japan Mike Yankee, is that correct? Sure that.
Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP.
Radio 5 Alpha Tango.
Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP. Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP. Well, I've been at it for an hour and a half. I worked 20 meters and 40 and have made 0 contacts. 0 contacts. So it's 3:30 in the afternoon and 90 minutes, and we've made many calls, but 0 contacts. So we're going to keep at it. But we knew the sunspot cycle was really low today, and we knew that the propagation would be tough. But all I know is at this point, I'm 90 minutes in with 0 contacts in the log. So we'll keep going. The antenna I'm on right now is the long wire. I started on 20 meters with the link dipole open to 20 meter operation. Worked 20 for about 45 minutes and went nowhere. So I moved to the vertical for 40 meters and didn't make any contacts. I said, well, let me try the long wire. And I'm hearing stations just fine, but we got full power going out. It's not the radio, it's nothing like that. So it's just tough for QRP, I think, trying to make contacts these days. Kentucky 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo QRP. Kilowatt 2 Charlie Juliet Bravo. Copy 1 Delta Ohio. Please copy 1 Echo Eastern Pennsylvania. QSL. So you can hear all the static crashes. And here's why. I'm right here. Here it all comes. It's north of me, but I'm going to just shut the radios down for a little bit and see what happens here. You probably can't hear it, but there's a lot of rumbling going on. Now that's north of me, and it looks like it's going to pass by, but I have shut down and disconnected the antennas just as a precaution.
Tonight, mostly cloudy. Thunderstorms likely this evening, then slight chance of thunderstorms after midnight. Some thunderstorms may produce damaging winds this evening. Lows in the lower 70s. West winds 5 to 15 miles an hour.
Well, we're hanging out here in the tent. I've got all the radios shut down. I've disconnected the antennas. I lowered the whip because the wind is kicking up a little. That storm's passing north of us, but we're getting some wind now, and I think we're going to get a little bit of rain coming through any minute now. So I did try to make a contact on 5.2. I figured, well, if I'm not going to operate HF, if that's not working, maybe I'll try 5.2, and there's nobody out there. So I'm going to try calling out on 5.2 for a little bit and see if we can make a few contacts that way. But it is, I have to say this, it's been kind of frustrating. I'm in, well, I've been off now for about 20 minutes because of the storm going by, but I've been operating 2 hours and I have made 1 contact. Now that contact was on my my long wire that I put up, which is an experimental antenna, so that's pretty neat. But I was hoping to be able to make some more contacts than I have. Well, it is getting a little breezy. The tent's holding up just fine. The breeze feels good. By the way, I do have a fan that I know a lot of you recommended. I have the bug spray on. A lot of you recommend. You'll notice too, I changed my shirt because it's getting a little warm. So anyway, we're on standby right now, and hopefully the storm will go by, and hopefully conditions will improve marginally so I can make a few more contacts before the end of the day. It looks like the storm has passed. Turn that down a little bit, and I'm going to try again. While the storm was going over, I took the opportunity to make all the connections for my FT8 operation, and also hooked up my MFJ paddle for CW. And I'm thinking at this point that SSB is a bust for this field day because of propagation. So I'm going to try CW and see how that goes. Well, we're at 6:14 p.m. We're just over 4 hours in. I've made 4 contacts. It's been tough. This has been tough. I had a weather break there for a while. The weather's going to start rolling in again, so the XYL is making me a quick bite to eat. I'm going to have that, and we'll come back at it again. I have to say, this fan is a great idea. Well, the rain has all gone through, and it's cooled off considerably out here, but it's still kind of a little stuffy in the tent, as campers know. It's kind of new for me. So we've got 4 contacts still in the books. It's 10 to 7, and now we're going to go for the long haul into the night to see how far I go. I'm going to stick with sideband for a while. I didn't go to CW yet. I'm going to stick with it, and we'll see if I have to go to CW, see how the conditions are. I've got the antennas set up for 40 meters, all of them. I've got, of course, the long wire's tuned for 40 meters with this tuner. The vertical is set up for 40 meters, and I put the links back in the link dipole, so everything's 40 meters from here on out.
Uniform, we are 1 Delta Indiana, over. Okay, 1 Echo.
I'm on the vertical right now. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP.
Okay, Kilo 5, I think it's Kilo Uniform, Quebec. We are 1 Delta Indiana, QSL. 1 Sierra, Sierra.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP.
Whiskey 1, Quebec Hotel, please.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP.
The Charlie Juliet QRP station, please come back.
Roger, roger. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. Please copy 1 Echo, Eastern Pennsylvania, QSL.
QSL. Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet, Bravo. QRP. Please copy 1 Delta, Victor Alpha, Virginia.
Roger, roger. Copy 1 Delta, Victor Alpha. Have fun.
Thank you, you too.
Victor Alpha. Well, we've got to 8 o'clock now, so we're at this for 6 hours. We did take those couple of weather breaks that we had, and I had a quick bite to eat about an hour, a little more than an hour ago. And, well, we've just made it up to 10 contacts. I'm getting better signal reports. I'm working off the link dipole now. So 40 seems to be working more in my favor for a little while. Still working sideband. I haven't gone to CW or FT8 yet, but so far so good. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP. 8:30, and the 40 meters seems to really be opening up here. I'm up to 14 contacts now, and I'm starting to turn lights on in the tent. Even though it looks like it's very bright outside, it's not. It's starting to get dark in here. So I've got plenty of light, and my little fan is still running on low, so we've got nice ventilation in here. But anyway, I wanted to say a comment about the Hamlog app on the iPad is working beautifully. Very simple to operate. There's a field day log, and I just got the class and section from wherever I'm working, and it just keeps a nice log going for me here. So anyway, we're thinking about listening in to see if I can copy the W1AW bulletin, which I believe on phone is at 9:30, so I'm going to try to do that. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the next hour. See you in a bit. Let's get a little darker out here in the tent. And I had to break out the USB power packs. One for the iPad, which got down to about 25%, and the phone, of all things, I got a notification that it was down to less than 20%, I guess because I'm recording video on it, go figure. So that's why you hear different audio. I'm using the built-in mic on the phone. I've got it running off the power port. So we're still getting there. We're at 15 contacts now at 8:45. So I think I'm going to get out of the tent and stretch a little bit. The next thing I'm going to try to do tonight is to copy the W1AW bulletin at 9:45. It's 9:42 now. So I'm going to go to the frequency that they said they would be on, which is, I'm looking it up on the chart, 7.290. 7.290. I'm going to tune to that, and we'll see if we can copy the ARRL bulletin. So let's see if we can find it first of all. Well, according to my time, it's 9:45 p.m. I'm on 7.290. I'm not hearing any bulletin starting up. It's now 9:48 p.m. I'm on 7.290, and there's no bulletin. Well, as I said I would when it got late, it's about 10:45 now. I've switched to FT8. And that's really busy tonight. It took me a little bit to remember how to get it turned on for field day use, and also to get an error message to go away, but looks like we got things working now. And we're just trying to make contacts now on FT8. So we'll see how this goes tonight. Still on 40 meters. Well, it's 11:30, and I think I'm gonna call it a night. So here's what happened. I was operating FT8, and I realized that I wasn't making any contacts. And I looked at the modulation meter on the FT817 and saw that there was no modulation. And then it dawned on me that I assumed that the jumper plug inside the signal link would be the same as the FT3000, the FTDX3000, which I had it set up for a long time ago. And apparently it's not. I don't think there's any modulation coming out of the signal link into the FT817. So that part was a bust. So I went to check out some CW and quickly realized that the FT817 really needs to have a CW filter in it, especially if you're going to try to operate on a really crowded, busy night. There was a lot of CW ops and they were right on top of each other, and without a CW filter, there was no way I was going to be able to even pick them apart. So I went back to checking out some phone, some sideband operation, and of course there's a lot of West Coast stations coming in now, and with QRP, I'm just not going to work those guys. I did make a few calls, but nothing came to pass. So here it is. It's 11:35 at night, and I think I'm going to call it a night. So maybe in the morning, 20 meters might be a little more favorable, and maybe we can get a few more contacts in the morning. But we have learned a few things already. First of all, that I need to look at the signal link to make FT8 or any digital mode work with the FT817, and I also have to get myself a CW filter for it. So I'm going to turn in. So we'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It's a little after 6 a.m. and I survived the night in the tent. The first thing I did was pull the links on the link dipole and gave a listen around 20 meters, and I didn't hear a thing. So back to 40 meters we go. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP.
Mike Tango again.
When all else fails, I'll put out my own CQ. CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day. Here's Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, CQ Field Day. CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day. This is Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, QRP. CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day. This is Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo, calling CQ Field Day. Still not getting, we made one contact in the 1 hour we've been up, so it looks like it's a contact an hour.
Okay, sorry about that. I've got the call now. You're in the clear that time. Thanks for 1 Echo and Easter Charlie, Kilo 9, Kilo Echo, Field Day.
I just worked that station, and it looks like things are starting to wake up here. We picked up about 3 contacts in about 5 minutes. I just worked Whiskey Zero Charlie November here. The XYL brought out some a nice bacon and egg sandwich for me. Get myself started today. So that would have been contact number 22 for this whole exercise. A couple of observations. I'm going to do a recap at the end of this. But my battery, I'm still running on the original 8 amp hour SLA. And according to the power meter, I've used 4.3 amp hours worth of the power in the battery. Interesting. So I've got the BioNO I've never used, and I've got the other SLA I picked up I never used. And it was pretty active through the whole exercise. Just interesting that the battery held up as well as it did. But other battery issues was the iPad and the phone I record these things on needed to be. They were the first things to give up. They were last night at some point, and I just threw them on one of those USB power packs. What I'm running now is the fan for the tent. That ran out of power overnight. I had it running most of the day yesterday, medium speed, not high speed. And I remember I woke up this morning and it wasn't running. So I have that on the battery pack now, just running that because it's getting a little warm in here early in the morning. Now the sun's coming up. So 8:17 in the morning, and we're going to keep going till about 9, and then I have to shut down for a little while since I pastor a church. I got to go down there and be there for that. And then after that, I should be home hopefully in time to do another hour. So, well, let's see if we can find any more contacts here.
Video Hotel.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo.
Alpha Golf 6.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo, 1 Echo EPA.
Okay, QSL, Eastern Pennsylvania, thank you. Okay, to 5 Charlie.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo.
Charlie Juliet Bravo.
Roger, Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo. Please copy 1 Echo, Echo Papa Alpha.
Okay, what's the section?
Echo Papa Alpha, Eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Kilo 2, Charlie Japan Bravo.
Is that a Kilo 2, Charlie, Japan, Bravo?
Roger. Please copy 1 Echo, Eastern Pennsylvania, EPA.
Okay, thank you very much. Kilo 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. I am copying 1 Echo, Eastern PA. You are 1 Bravo, Victor Alpha. Copy 1 Bravo, Victor Alpha.
Roger. I copy 1 Bravo, Victor Alpha. Have fun, 73.
73, this is A24BR, QRZ.
Oh, there's 25.
This is Alpha Kilo 4, Bravo, Romeo.
Okay, Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo, 1 Delta Oscar November Echo.
Roger. I copy 1 Delta Oscar November Echo. Please copy 1 Echo, Echo Papa Alpha.
Roger, good luck. QRZ, Victor Echo 3, Papa Japan.
What's amazing me now is that all these contacts are happening on that long wire that I kind of cobbled together through this little, I'm going to show you this little tuner I'm using here. This little SST tuner. This thing I've had for many years. Little LC network. It's working like a champ. We're on 20 meters for the last final push here. Got about a half hour left in field day. 20 is hopping right now. Just worked a Western New York station.
Kilowatt 2, Charlie, Juliet, Bravo. Please copy 1 Delta, Oscar, November, Sierra.
Roger. I copy 1 Delta ONS. This is 1 Echo EPA, Echo Papa Alpha. Kilowatt 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo, 1 Echo, Echo Papa Alpha.
1 Echo Papa Alpha. Thank you for Eastern PA. You are 1 Delta Mike India.
Roger. Copy 1 Delta Mike India. Have fun.
Have fun, 7-3. QRZ, Whiskey 1 Sierra Kilo Uniform.
And just like that, at 2 p.m., the bands go quiet. So, finish field day. I'm going to pack everything up, and then we'll do a kind of a recap, lessons learned. So what have I learned after doing Field Day 2020 and the whole exercise? Well, I learned it was a lot of work. Let's start with that. But let's go through some of the technical details first. Let's talk about the SLA battery. I used my normal Duracell that I use all the time on POTA activations and everything else. It's the original SLA battery that I purchased some time ago. It's an 8 amp hour battery. During the entire exercise, I used 5 amp hours worth of power out of that battery. In receive, the 817 drew about 0.3 amps, and in transmit, it averaged between 1.2 and 1.4 amps. The bottom line is I didn't need the additional Bioenno 4.5 amp hour battery or that second SLA battery, that 7 amp hour battery that I got. Never used them, they stayed in the box. That being said, the Bioenno battery will be my go-to battery, I think, when I do POTA activations because it is a lot lighter. Let's talk about the FT70DR battery. The FT70 has a rap that the battery life is really short. I left that in receive. I think I just kind of called up, put out a couple of calls on the digital repeater nearby, but left it in receive the whole time. It was still working Sunday morning. It hadn't died. So I didn't need the backup battery for that, but it's always good to have one. The TYT HT worked just fine. I made a couple of calls, had a couple of QSOs on the club repeater during the entire exercise. And again, I left that on the entire time. The battery was fine Sunday. I didn't need the backup battery for that, but again, it is always good to have backup batteries for HTs. The only 2 devices that actually had a battery life issue, believe it or not, was the iPhone and the iPad. The iPhone because I was recording video on it, and the iPad because I was logging with that. So both of them were running full duty, I guess you could say, the whole time. Early Saturday evening, I got notifications that they were below 20% of their battery power. So what I did was I went to the 28,000 milliamp hour USB power pack that I have, plugged them both in, and within a couple hours, they were both back up to full power again. The overhead fan also died on me on the overnight. I had it running medium speed the whole time, and I just plugged that in the next morning to that same power pack, and I had the fan going for the rest of the day. Now let's talk about the antennas. My go-to antenna, as you've seen if you watch my POTA videos, has been the Silver Bullet 1000, the Wolf River coil, with the MFJ vertical with the counterpoise. That has been my go-to antenna for portable operations. For this field day, it was pretty ineffective. I don't think I made any contacts using that. I had it set up for 40 meters. The reason for that was I had a lot of trouble getting it to tune to 20 meters for some reason. And even for 40 meters, I didn't get a perfect resonance. I was surprised about that. The K9 ARV link dipole for 20 and 40 worked well, as did the long wire that I put up. They were the antennas I really went to and made the most contacts with. 20 meters on the dipole was really the go-to on Sunday. When I set up the long wire antenna on Friday, I had used, there's a table, I forget where I found it online, but there's a table of all the recommended random wire lengths for a random length antenna. And I chose one of those. I ran the wire, as you saw, from between 2 trees, and it was kind of like in an L, and it came down right into the tuner inside the tent. I had a lot of trouble getting that to tune on any band. 40 was the best. I get that down to about less than 1.1 to 1 tuning on that, using that little tuner. 80 meters, I kept trimming the antenna, the wire length on Friday, and the best I got with that was about 4 to 1, so it was unusable. Couldn't tune it for any other band either. So that antenna was set up for 40 meters, and that's all I did with it. Let's talk about FT8 a little bit. It failed. I couldn't get it to work. What happened was, and what I figured out the problem is that there was no sound, no audio coming out of the signal link into the FT817 because I had no modulation when I was transmitting on FT8. Now it could have been the signal link wasn't set up right, or there might have been a setting in the FT817 that was wrong. I had taken this all out about 2 weeks before and set it all up when that cable came in to make it work with my MacBook Air. I downloaded the software on the computer, I set everything up, and I had some trouble getting the cat control and everything to work. Once I got that configured and I was receiving, I assumed that the signal link would work. When I got the signal link, I bought it years ago for my FTDX3000 because I wanted to operate digital modes. I quickly learned that the FTDX3000 has an internal sound card, so I didn't need the signal link, but I hung on to it anyway. I had set the jumpers in that for the FTDX3000. On the Tigertronics website, it says that the jumper settings for the 3000 and the 817ND are the same. So I just assumed that that part would work because it did work with the 3000. So I don't know, again, if it's a setting with the 817 or it's the jumpers are not right or something else is wrong, but the FT8 part of the weekend was a bust. For CW, as I said, The 817 does not really have a CW filter in it. And I've talked about and thought about getting that CW filter for it. I just haven't done it yet, and I see why I really need to do it. Because when you're in like a contest situation, there was no way I was going to be able to decipher between one signal and another. They were really packed that tightly. So I was not able to operate CW. Now let's talk about creature comforts and living in a tent overnight, which again, I haven't done since the sixth grade. The tent, I think, was flawless. You saw the rain I got. There was no water, no drips, nothing from all that rain. So kudos to Coleman. That was great for the tent. The zipper on the door, at one point at night, I was going back into the tent. I had closed the door already. And when I was going back in, as I pulled the zipper, it jammed on the flap. And when I went to take that, unjam it, the first zipper pull popped off the zipper, so it separated. Luckily for me, there's two zipper pulls, so the other one was able to close the door, and I was able to keep the tent closed, or else that would have been the end of everything. What I did learn, and I know I've seen this on videos about camping before, is I should have, during the day, in broad daylight, inflated the air mattress and put it in the tent. I did that at midnight, in the dark, with little battery-operated lights, trying to get the little pump to blow up the air mattress. That didn't work out so well. I mean, it worked, but I think what I should have done was blown that up outside the tent and put it in the tent and just left it there for the whole day. So that was Field Day 2020. You know, you hear a lot of people complaining about all the 1 Delta stations, and they were making contacts with each other, and there are a lot of big guns out there. Saturday, I think I'm reading around on the internet on the Facebook page for the Field Day Facebook group, and just in touch with other folks, Saturday was just tough on everybody. And being a QRP station, it was brutal trying to make contacts. But Sunday morning, things woke up, and I made quite a few contacts. Of course, as I told you, pastoring a church, I had to step down for a little bit. And when I came back, I made a few more contacts. All in all, I made 36 contacts over 24 hours. Of course, it wasn't 24 hours nonstop, but 36 contacts, and every one of them was earned, I'll tell you that. Being a QRP operator, when you don't have ideal conditions and you're competing with a lot of other stations, it is a challenge. I want to thank all those folks that worked with me and kind of made the contacts work. I'm going to run everyone's call signs at the end here so you can see the contacts I made. If you were able to operate Field Day, I hope you had a great time. Saturday was tough on all of us, I think. From reading all the stuff on the internet, it looks like we all had a rough time Saturday. But Sunday was great, and I had a great time doing it. I learned a lot about survival in a tent. I got rained on. I got, I got through it. So that was a lot of fun to do that too. So if you liked what you've seen today and maybe my previous video prepping for this, hit like, that would be awesome. And if you like the stuff I'm doing, click on subscribe. I always say this at the end, and I really mean it. It encourages me to just keep, come up with new ideas for videos for you guys to see. So again, thanks so much. If you have any other thoughts on your Field Day experience, put them in the comments below, and we can, I read every one of them. So that would be pretty cool to see how you did as well. So again, Field Day 2020 in the books. 73 from K2 CJB.